So I've got a action figure haul to show you here, and I've been wanting to open these up for a little while, and so where to begin? I got these at Bargain Hunt, Super Dollar, and one other like closeout store. So these were all fairly cheap. This one was the best deal. This is Boomerang. It was $3. He is another character from Suicide Squad, so after Katana that will make two, and there's another Killer Croc part in here. So I guess I'll start with him. And then as I go through these, I'll just explain what characters they are and so forth. Oh, well, let's look at the box first. So it's the DC Multiverse box. There's a picture of Captain Boomerang, or just Boomerang, on it. I mean, if I didn't know about the movie, you would think this could be a wrestling figure because it looks so much like one. But the character was one of the better characters in the movie. And this is one of the better DC figures. I have two that I'm looking at today. The other one being this Batman that I'll show you in a few minutes. And it shows the other figures on the back. The Joker, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Katana, who I have, and this Batman with the, I guess that's the breathing apparatus for when Batman chases after them in the water, in the scene where he chases after Harley Quinn. So, and then you can build Killer Croc. Okay, so there's a picture of the character, same picture here. I'm pulling out the tray from the packaging, and we have the figure with 3 boomerangs and Killer Croc's arm. I'm going to take the plastic part out. First, I'll look at the arm. So it's I have 2 pieces now, so I'm on my way to building a Killer Croc figure. And if I can keep finding these Suicide Squad figures cheap, I might have a Killer Croc at the end of all of this, which would be kind of a cool figure. It's the there's 2 build Killer Crocs available, and this is the shirtless one. There's another one where I think he's wearing a hoodie. And there are 3 boomerangs. Hopefully they're flexible. Pretty much. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at Captain Boomerang here. The first thing you'll notice is his coat. It's open and kind of sticking out in the front, which is kind of cool. And then, fortunately, he has, I believe, a way to hold his boomerangs on the inside of his coat, which is kind of cool. So, I think like that, I'm guessing. And he's got pretty good articulation. Like the other figures like this, whether they're Marvel or DC, he has the ball jointed neck. He's wearing like a beanie. He has ball hinge shoulders, a ball jointed elbow. Then he has a swivel here, a ball jointed wrist where he's wearing a gold watch that's metallic paint. On this arm, he has like a metal arm or a glove. I can't remember if he had a metal arm in the movie. And the same articulation on this arm. Then he has the cool torso that bends. He has ball hinged hips that spread out or move up, which is a really good articulation. And then he has kind of a bad cut joint in the knee. And then he has a very loose swivel in the ankle. So he'll look best if you don't pose him with his knees bent. He can hold the other boomerangs, so then you can stow one in his boomerang holster. That way you don't have to put any of these accessories up. You can equip all of them at one time, which is kind of cool. He has a little shoulder holster for the boomerangs, so that's pretty cool. So this is, I'll give you 180. So this is Captain Boomerang, one of the cooler characters in Suicide Squad. Although he didn't get to use his boomerangs all that much, but he was kind of there for comic relief. But it's a good figure. I like it. Let's move on to, for those of us who want to relax, let me open the next loud packaging. This is a Marvel Legends X-Force, Marvel's Boom Boom. And I selected this figure because of the bubble gum. I really think that's cool. And she comes with a Wendigo part. And on the back it says Marvel's Boom Boom. Tabitha Smith, alias Boom Boom, manipulates energy to create explosive time bombs that she can detonate at any moment. And we got some of those effects here that you can connect to your hands. And if you don't like that hand, you can replace it with this hand. And if you don't like the bubble gum head, you can put this head on. And as usual with Marvel Legends, artwork is very cool on the packaging. And similar background to the DC figure, the yellow background. Now, let's remove the items. First, there is the alternate hand, which I might actually put on the figure. The alternate head, which I don't think I'm going to put on the figure, because if you know anything about Marvel Legends figures, swapping these heads is a real chore. Wendigo leg. He's cool. Look at his foot. This would be a good Build-A-Figure. Wow, I mean, this thing would be huge. I do think I like this. There's one explosive hand effect that you can put on her hand. And the figure itself. I love the bubble gum. I really do. I like that a lot, and I'm gonna keep that head on. I probably am going to swap out this hand with this hand. Okay, that's better. The head is very loose. She has a small vest on, and she has a belt that's a separate piece, and then she has this uh, strap belt thing around her thigh, like you could put a gun there or something. I like her just like this. She also has like these 80s sort of booties or whatever that are separate pieces. So there's a lot going on with the figure. Now let's cover the articulation. She has a very loosely ball jointed head that actually looks kind of terrible when you manipulate it too much, so it's probably best to pose it and then set a pose because you can see like a lot of the inside of the head. That's not so cool. She has a ball hinged shoulder, ball hinged elbow, um, ball hinged wrist with a separate piece for like part of her glove for texture. Identical articulation on the other arm. She has the very cool chest articulation here. That's a ball that can put her into a lot of cool poses. The same kind of articulation on the hips as the DC, where it spreads out and also up. And then there's a cut joint here in the thigh, which I don't really like to use those very much. Then the kneecap joint, which is cool. And then also ball hinged ankles. So you can get her in a lot of poses, a lot of great poses. This just is a really good figure. I really like this one, just the way it is, just like this, with the X belt and everything. So, yeah, I know these are different franchises, but these look great together. The pink and the blue and everything, it's a good combination here. So, you can use these explosive effects if you wanted to. They should fit somehow into the hands really well. There's usually a way to do this where it just snaps. I think I'm onto something here. I think it's whoop. I think it's gonna be something like where it's these two fingers are gonna there's gotta be a way to do it. I could spend all night trying to figure it out, but her hands are molded in such a way. This one is probably gonna look kind of like that effect on this hand, but it's still very cool. Very cool figure. Always love the Marvel Legends characters they come out with, these obscure characters, and but they make for great display figures. I like to have them obscure. I don't like to have all like the most known characters. I like to have the obscure characters. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Next is let's do this Batman. I was intrigued when I saw this Bargaintown. It's kind of older. It was it's DC Comics Multiverse. The very similar packaging to the first one we opened, but it's smaller. It's highly detailed and authentic. Adult collector. I don't know why they put that. Batman Unmasked variant, and it has a picture of Michael Keaton, and this is supposed to look like Michael Keaton, but it just barely does. But I really like it anyway. DC Comics multiverse figures are inspired by comic-based characters, rich entertainment sources such as movies and video games. These figures are meticulously designed to be truly authentic, celebrating the many universes of entertaining DC Comics material. They really loaded that with adjectives because DC at this time was still struggling. Now that the Joker's out, I think DC is maybe feeling a little bit more confident about their place in the world now that Avengers has sort of fizzled out. And I think DC now has a shot of getting back to their Batman glory. And in this set also we had Mr. Freeze and General Zod. I always saw that General Zod and I kind of regret that I didn't get it. Because I always kind of liked that version of General Zod. The original Superman version. But if I see him again, if it's cheap enough, I might get him. I pull the tray out. And we have the figure and his grapple gun. Which I'm taking that out, and I'm going to remove the figure. And he comes out quite easily. And here we have him. Michael Keaton is Batman Unmasked. The only time you would see him like this is either when he was in the Batcave or talking to Alfred or something, or the one scene at the end of Batman Returns when he was revealing his identity to Catwoman. Nonetheless, I'm a fan of the original Tim Burton Batman. I like the old style Batsuit with the yellow logo. Let's give him the grapple gun. Oh, he's got a fist in that hand, so he's going to have to be in this hand. If it will hold. His hand is quite tight here. Let me... I don't think he's going to hold this very well. Well, not too bad. But, it doesn't look too bad. The detail on the grapple gun is pretty good. I think that they hyped up the meticulous detail a lot, but it's kind of a basic figure. The articulation's alright. He's got a... No, not really a ball joint neck. It's more like a swivel joint. He has this cape, but the cape... Nonetheless, he does have ball hinge shoulders. A regular swivel elbow. He has swivel wrists, swivel waist. He has the little karate joints in the legs, which is good. He has a cut joint in the thigh, which I never liked. He has the kneecap joint in the legs. And no articulation in the ankles. But he's pretty posable. You might just want to put him like this since he's unmasked. He's in the Batcave and he's looking at his computers, or he's talking to Alfred, or he's talking to Kim Basinger or whatever. That doesn't look a lot like Michael Keaton, but I know they're trying to get to be Michael Keaton. So, I mean, they took a shot at it. You can tell the eyebrows and everything. I mean, I feel like they could have done a little bit better, but it's not too bad. I mean, I get it. I see that they're trying to be Michael Keaton, but it's definitely not a dead ringer. But, it's pretty good. Okay. Next is this. This is a Y-Wing Scout Bomber from Star Wars Rebels. And let me get something real quick. Okay. Okay. So, did this ship ever appear in the show? No. I looked this up on rebelscum.com, and it has an article about it, and it says one day Kanan Jarrus was flying with Chopper and a Y-Wing Scout Bomber. That's all we know about it. This used to be a Clone Wars toy, and they refitted it for Star Wars Rebels. I paid $5 for this at Bargain Hunt. It reminds me a lot of something they had in the 80s called mini rigs, which were Star Wars smaller vehicles for a budget that you could use with Star Wars action figures that never really appeared in the movies, but they were like smaller versions of vehicles. But you could use your imagination, and you could, say, well, this ship exists in my world, But in your world, there is a Y-Wing Scout Bomber. It looks like a little miniature version of a Y-Wing fighter, but it doesn't exactly. I mean, it has the cells, and it has a gun here. The cockpit is sort of shaped the same way. And after that, that's about it. It says it has bombs, and it comes with a unique Kanan Jarrus figure, which is cool because he's, as you can see, he's wearing the headset, and that's kind of cool. His lightsaber is terribly bent, so I was going through the different ones, and I picked the one with the least bent lightsaber. They were all just terribly bent. If we go to the back, it says, armed with proton bombs and laser cannons, this prototype Y-Wing Scout Bomber uses its rotating engines to provide enhanced maneuverability during flight. And that's also in different languages. And then you can also find, which they had at Bargain Hunt, these other things. You can get Jyn Erso, you can get Rey Speeder, they had that too. And it came with a unique Rey, and you can get the Rebel Commando, POW, and Death Trooper too, which is pretty easy to find if you're looking for these figures. And then on the back it shows the vehicle and Kanan with a straight lightsaber. And some of the features, like the opening cockpit, the engines that can swivel, and dropping bombs. So now I am opening, and for $6 I'd get this. And if I ever get tired of it, I can donate it to Goodwill or something. I mean, the thing is, but I don't think I never would have paid a full price for this. Here is a little pamphlet for an app that I heard that they didn't never really finish this app. I don't know how true that is, but there is an app you can go to, and I guess you can look at your vehicles and they can shoot lasers or something. I don't know. First is the figure, which is the main reason I wanted this, because in a later video I want to show you that I am trying to collect all of the Star Wars Rebels figures. It's one of my favorite Star Wars properties, and this is a different figure than the Kanan you could buy in the store, so it's kind of cool, despite the fact that his lightsaber is just terribly bent and ridiculous looking. I don't know if I'll ever get that wrinkle out of his lightsaber, but here's the figure. And he generally looks like the other figure, but he has the unique head sculpt with the headset, which I kind of like. And of course his blaster's molded on, which kind of stinks because I don't know why they didn't give him a blaster. And let's put on the stupid lightsaber that's stupidly bent. So he has a very bent lightsaber here, but you can maybe kind of pose it where it doesn't, where you can kind of don't see the bend too much. Okay. Now, here is the ship. First, it comes with this. It explains the cockpit swivels open and shows you where to put the bombs. It's tied in here. And easily comes out. And the bombs are just sort of pressed into the cardboard and they pop right out. I think that's everything. So here is the ship itself, and there is a place in the back. There's a little, oh. Okay, so what we have in the back here is, it elevates the floor so you can put different droids in here. For example, I brought down Chopper, so if I wanted to put Chopper in here, there's a floor. So I can close this and you can actually see Chopper's little head sticking out. But if I wanted to put a bigger droid in here, I could take that floor out. And that's a cool, actually a fairly cool feature. And that more or less just pops back in, and it doesn't really have a hinge. But the cool thing is now you can have Chopper manning this gun here that swivels about 45 or so degrees. It's a little smaller than I thought it'd be, but the inside's not too bad. First, let's the bombs go in here, and then you pop them in, and then there's buttons, and it drops them. Let's not get into whether or not there's gravity in space. Then it's got two guns that come out. If you do. So now your guns are pointed forward, but you can also move them around. It's the cockpit kind of blocks them, and the guns are, I mean, this ship is a budget ship. This is not like a major vehicle that it's going to cost money, so obviously there's not a lot of hinges or things really connected very well. Nonetheless, it's still not too bad. The paint's kind of cool, and you have some options for your droids, but if you have an R2 unit, you can put him in there, and that's pretty cool. It's got a Red Bull logo right here, and then you can put Kanan and his stupid lightsaber in here. So he has, of course, he has a. They never ever give you, like, even in the big ships, they never give you like controls that they can actually hold, which I always kind of hate. So he's just kind of lounging in here. I guess he's on autopilot. And then you can put his lightsaber in, pretend it's not ignited, and then there you go. He's ready to go with Chopper in the back. And let's see how close this is to the picture. So Chopper's not quite as high up. You can sort of make him out. You can sort of see Kanan in the cockpit. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. For $5, it's not bad. I wouldn't recommend paying more than $5 for this. But it's a budget ship. There's no landing gears or anything. If you want to have a ship but you're on a tight budget, you know, and use your imagination to pretend this ever really existed, it does. The engines do move. They make a squeaky sound. It's kind of funny. And they do kind of lock back in the right position, which is good too. So they did add that little notched feature. So, you know, there you have it. It's not bad. So to recap, we have Kanan in his Y-Wing Scout Bomber. We have the Michael Keaton Unmasked Batman for you Michael Keaton fans, as well as you Batman fans. If you just wanted a Batman that was definitely Michael Keaton, because there's like 6,000 Batmans out there to choose from, this one is definitely Michael Keaton. You have the very cool Boom Boom from X-Force. With all kinds of separate pieces to add texture, with all kinds of poses, with this very cool bubblegum effect, a crazy head joint, and still a cool figure. She came with the Wendigo leg, which would be a great Build-A-Figure to finish. He's kind of big, like Kingpin big. Or if you just wanted to be funny, you could put this leg on Kingpin, because I think it would fit. We have Killer Croc's arm. And we have Captain Boomerang with his coat, but there's no stuffed unicorn and there's no beers in his coat. You can add those on your own to be more true to the character. He does have a knife here. This foot is awfully loose, but the figure was only $3, so I'm not complaining. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back for more, and please rate, comment, and subscribe. Bye.